And just like that, we're up. And that's how it works, Donovan. What's up, brother? How are you, man?
Up, man? Good.
So,
how are you?
Good, because I stopped you mid-sentence because this always happens with the podcast. The pregame is always good, and it never makes it to the full episode. And so
Gotcha.
I just said, stop, hit record, let's go.
Yeah.
Donovan Carrasco, thanks for joining me, brother. Out of Texas, my man. We've met several times now. Coyote Fire Training, career fireman in Texas as well. But I want to go right into that because you said where you are today is a full circle story for you. So give me a little bit of background, and what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so the department I'm with now actually went to my high school, and they were saying, how to get into the fire service, just showing you how to get into it. And I wanted to be an architect at first, but I suck at math. So that wasn't going to happen. My mom wanted me to make her a house, and I, failed her on that one. So, being a firefighter, I wanted to do something in the military or police. I wanted to give back to the community somehow. They came by, and I got to do a ride-along. I went to Station 2, and we went lights and sirens down the road, and I was sold.
That was it.
That was it for me.
Yeah.
It was the coolest thing. It was the coolest feeling to have. It was the feeling of being able to help someone. It was super neat. So full circle, and that's now where I'm at.
Well, I mean, that's so much there, right? Because going from a dream of being an architect to realizing that that's probably not in the cards, what got you to buy into the civic mindedness of like, I want to give back to my community, your words? So
yeah.
where did that come from? Is that your upbringing, your mother? Like where does that come from?
I would say it's my family. My family, we take care of each other. We're very tight when it comes to family. My grandma and my mom have always called me their God's warrior.
God's warrior.
Yeah, so I wanted to, do something for others. It's just being able to help others is just a different feeling, and I feel like that's what my purpose is to do. So, yeah.
Did you know that early on? I mean, high school is pretty early on, bro. Like I'm sitting here almost just south of 50 years old. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? But that's pretty wild. I love that.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, I'm grateful for my family to lead me that way.
This is where I love going down conversations like this, because I love talking about how some people just have it in them. Some people need to learn and grow and figure it out, and others just have this way about them that understands, like, this is where I belong, and all it took was a chance encounter at your high school, right? To know that that's really what you want to do.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd be happy as an architect, brother.
No. Yeah, and a lot of the guys who know me too, they know that I'm not good at the desk. I got the ADHD, so there is no way of me sitting at a desk.
A lot of us do. A lot of us do. But there's something to be said for that. When your office environment's constantly changing because you're out on the road and you don't know what's coming next, it takes a certain type of individual to be able to do that. Not everybody. And that's why this job is not for everybody, because you don't know. We need dynamic people that can handle anything that's thrown at them at a moment's notice.
Definitely, yeah. And that's what makes it fun, though. That's what makes it fun, just being on the spur of the moment. You never know what you're going to get. It could be lift assist to a structure fire. It could be anything. That's what makes it cool.
Yeah, and to say that it's full circle, it should be said, right, that you just came back to Cedar Park, right? Before that, you worked for some other fire departments, but you found your way back to your home, and I love that, man. That's cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So I got to ask this, right? I got my ass handed to me not too long, like last week on some social media posts where we were talking about lateral transfers and, departments looking for transfer firefighters versus, new recruits. I got rung up on that one pretty good, because I was talking about, and it got a lot of people took it out of context, and I want to share it with you because I'd love some feedback from you on this. And I know that transfers is a very big part of the fire service in other parts of the country. In the Northeast where I am, not so much, right? In the volunteer service, you got a lot of guys jumping ship for another department they think is going to treat them better, and so on. And I always said that if it's good for the individual and you do your homework and determine where you want to be, and if your current place isn't giving that and you don't see a roadmap to get there in your current place, I have no problem for you leaving. My point was, in the social media post that I got kind of handed to me, was when I said that those guys go somewhere else, realize it's not that good there, and now they want to come back. And I was like, man, I want guys on my team. I want guys that are loyal and committed. And if we have a good place here and you leave for something you think is better, only to turn around and say, no, I want to come back, I don't like it there, I have a hard time with that. That one I have a hard time with. Talk to me, the whole mindset, though, about transferring, like, really interesting to me because it doesn't exist up here. But I know other parts of the country, it's a big part of the process, especially because a lot of districts are growing at such a fast pace. It's easier to take transfers and you know, people coming across the floor, even to promote into other spots, than it is to start a new probie class, right?
Yeah. I mean, with transferring, I know some like to transfer because of, I think you said it in your last video, you know, fires, money, you know, stuff like that. What I've seen is sometimes it's mostly fires. You know, people are like, well, I'll get more fires. It's like, I don't know what area you think we're in, but like, you know, we have sprinklers everywhere, you know, but so, you know, fires isn't it. So what's the main reason, you know? And a lot of people kind of dive into it. Well, you know, 4896 comes up. All right. Well, everyone's 4896 now. So now what? You know, so like it's what's the real reason, you know? I would say sometimes, you know, a lot of times the guys I've talked to is mental health. And I know you hit on it. You know, someone who's so eager to go and change the department and they feel like they're doing it by themselves or they feel like they don't have so much support. I mean, that can draw on anyone's mental health, you know, doing that so X amount of years, having a family, having a kid who's 3, my daughter's 3, right? So
nice.
You know, you want to be present. You want to be present for your wife and your kids, you know, like, so that I would say from who I've talked to, that's probably a big reason. You know, fires ain't it. We're not in your area. We're not in FDNY's area, you know, so fires isn't the reason.
I think the mental health aspect certainly, and as that has become and taken, you know, foot in the forefront of what we want most for our people, right? That comes from, and you typically find strong, you know, strong mental health comes from strong cultures, strong departments, strong, background to be able to support their people, right? When fire departments are throwing it together as they go, they typically have a terrible culture. They typically don't have a good environment where people thrive, and that really taxes your mental health. And, you know, family matters, right? Money matters, right? You want to be, I know some people are like, we need to afford groceries and we have a family that we have to think of and my family comes first. Nobody's saying they don't. You have to absolutely put your wife and your children ahead of anything else. I understand that, but there has to be some type of understanding. There has to be some type of loyalty to the department that you're with, because we always want you to believe in the department you work for. And if you don't, that's a sure sign that you need to find something different.
Exactly.
It's not a place that's doing the best for you. Yeah.
And it brings a lot of those, the personnel around that certain individual down, you know, like if you're trying to make something a culture and then you have this person who's just constantly negative, you know, a big one, unfortunately right now is money, you know, like that's a big one. Like it's hard sometimes to work only a set schedule for so long with no second job or anything, you know,
right.
But I don't find money to be an excuse to not be loyal to a department. You can find money. There's money anywhere, you know, you can do it. Especially if you're a firefighter, there's several people who are looking for some type of certification or certified personnel to be standby somewhere, you know, like if we have a certification here in Texas, if the world is ours, we can do something else on the side, you know, so money's not the excuse. I don't know if that makes sense, you know?
No, it makes a lot of sense, but what I struggle with the fire service, and it's so different, right? We always say firefighting's local, and that's so very true, because there's certain parts of the country where being a firefighter is your career, and it pays all your bills and allows you to have a life. Whereas other parts, and I know down by you in Texas, a lot of guys work 2-3 fire jobs, right? That one job is their main, and then they work 1 or 2 per diem jobs just to fill in the gaps to make enough money to be successful and to raise their family. And that to me is that's a struggle for me. For guys to have to work additional jobs on their days off just to make ends meet. I have a very hard time with that, and we need to be doing better. But unfortunately, man, it's such a bigger topic than just the fire service. It's socially, economically, nationally driven. Everybody's working harder than they've ever worked before to make ends meet, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's changing the fire service too.
Yeah,
you know, like we used to hear in the academy, you know, like if there's no cars, you know, no one's inside, right? That's not the case. You know, childcare is expensive.
Yeah,
I don't care who you are, but child care is expensive.
Super expensive.
It's wild, you know, and people are trying to figure out how to work from home so they can take care of their kids. You know, it's a wild time, I guess, you know.
And you bring up so many good points because you went into thinking of like fireground mentality, right? Size up and things like that. I'm just talking in general with the fire service and how the job has changed, the fire service has changed because their perspective has changed because the environment's changed. Guys are looking for different things than they used to look for. Right? Like guys and girls were firefighters because they wanted to be firefighters and they bought into all of it and they were there loyal through and through. And today, I'm not saying there's not loyalty, but today there's so many other outside extenuating circumstances that changes the conversation about loyalty and passion for the job. Exactly. And for a lot of people, right, Donovan, a lot of people now treat it just as a job and not a lifestyle, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's unfortunately, you can tell who looks at the fire service as a job, and it's super unfortunate. And it brings a lot of the personnel, the guys and gals who have that passion to change the fire service or change something for the department, and then you have this personnel who are just like, well, it's just, you know,
go through the paces,
job, right?
Yeah,
it's just a firehouse, or it's just a fire station. They don't say firehouse, right? It's just a station. Right? Or it's just a truck. This is my place, you know?
Yeah, the hard part, though, is like, how do you fault? This is what I struggle with, and this is why a lot of times my mouth gets me in trouble because I'm speaking before I'm, like, really diving in and analyzing everything. But the thing is like, how do you fault somebody that says it's just a job because they have to work 3 of those jobs just to make ends meet, that we're not giving them the ability to have the buy-in because we just don't have that. It's just not built that way anymore. Yeah. And as much as I want to vilify people like that and be like, I don't want them on my team, I don't want this and that, I always talk about we want everything from our people, but we do nothing for our people.
Yeah.
We got to do more. You're going to get more buy-in. You're going to get people to treat it as a passion and lifestyle if we're giving them what they need. But departments that are lacking the ability to give more pay, more time, better leadership, a better culture, a better fire culture, a better training culture, all those things that people require. If we could do better at that, we probably wouldn't have people just treating this like a job.
Yeah, and, you know, I think it starts with us, and I say us as firefighters. You know, I've listened to guys who are like, you know, chief this, chief this. Chief's busy. He's in the office. Right? He's making sure that we're getting paid. He's making sure that we have benefits. He's making sure that our trucks, you know, he's got other stuff to worry about. He may not be going to conferences. He may not be listening to podcasts. He may not be listening to different things that we're so passionate about. So it's up to us to bring that to the chiefs. If we want something done for our personnel, we need to do it. You know, we need to take care of our own. If we have someone who has that mentality of this is just a job, take care of them. Show them what the fire service is about.
Yes.
You know, and like
put the work in.
Yeah, put the work in. And you know, I'll use OSTA, Joey D Foundation, Affordable Drill Towers, all of them. They showed me what the fire service was about. You know, Matt Paglione got me started. I asked him on how to even get started, and he guided me the way on finding training, listening to personnel. That's how you do it. You got to find people. You find those people, and then you bring that back to your department, and you start taking care of your own. And that's the brotherhood and the sisterhood. You know, it starts with us.
Yeah, it does. And to go deeper, just to rewind 10 minutes into this conversation when I said you inherently just had it in you, though. See, that's the thing, right? Like, you were seeking more, and you weren't going to let anyone tell you differently. And that's what sets guys like you apart from most. Is we don't back down to a challenge, or we don't allow others to influence what we think is right for us.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Nah. Yeah, that's
I mean,
right on.
You had a quote that I read, and it says, "Always hunt, never be hunted."
Yeah.
That to me tells me exactly who you are. And this whole conversation we've had so far is you seeking, you hunting, you wanting more. The hunter hunts because they're seeking and wanting more. Exactly. They need more.
Yeah, keep going. It's there. You can take it. You can just get whatever you want from the fire service. It's endless. Just keep going and go.
Takes work.
It does. But yeah, ask yourself, or just go back from day one when you're applying for a job. You're going through the academy, on how passionate you were, right? On how many people want that job and where you're at right now. If you remember that, that's all day. I have a picture of my cadet academy. I have a picture of where I came from, all that stuff. Like, that gets me going. I will always remember how much I wanted the job at the current department I'm at right now, and that will never leave me.
I wonder if it comes down to the process and how hard people have to fight to get that position versus being handed a position.
Yeah, definitely. That's true. That's a good point.
I always think in life, like, whatever you want, if you put the work in, if you sacrifice for it, I think the reward is always bigger and better.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. Yeah, it's a different way to think about it as well.
But here's the thing. There are parts of the country where there's plenty of jobs to be had, and guys can step into them. And so then it's like, okay, you can step into that. Great. What does that look like for the individual then? Do they put the time in, or do they take it for granted? Like, I look at like the entitlement that I've created in my home with my kids, and I make things easier for them today than they were for me. And I'm not saying I had it rough growing up, but I certainly fell down plenty of times to learn my own lessons.
Yeah,
I find that, I do hold my kids accountable in a lot of ways, but there's other ways I wrap them in bubble wrap. And you just wonder what that's going to do for them as they go forward. And I hope that they recognize that I've made things a little bit easier. My wife and I worked hard to give them certain things, but are we doing damage instead of good? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, dang, that's a good one.
Let me ask you go ahead, do it.
I mean, it's just like the fire service now,
Yes.
It relates to the same thing. Like, some guys ask, are we lowering the standards, rather than just taking care of our own, right? And here's the big debatable thing here, the 15 16s versus 7/8s, right? That's a big project that's going on right now. Some may think that we're lowering the standards rather than just taking care of our own, not using maybe as much as that pressure, right? We can go down the rabbit hole on that, but like, that's the same thing, right? The same thing with the bubble wrap, like you said, versus just taking care of someone.
But I think, foundation and structure matters. And I think lowering standards, we can give people things and not lower standards. We can create a softer environment, and it doesn't mean we've lowered the standards, right? Like, I think lowering standards in a job like the fire service, whether career or volunteer, is one of the most dangerous things we can do. I don't think we should be lowering any standards, but what I do think there needs to be is real rational conversation about when we go to change or make changes. They have to reflect our current status, our current way of doing things, and we can't just get crazy and we haven't updated standards in 25 years, so we're going to hit you with all this now. That's not a realistic approach, right? We can't lower standards. This job doesn't allow us to lower standards, but it's building that structure, that infrastructure that allows for us to know that the standards that are in place are promoting the best out of our people. Does that make sense to you?
That does make sense. Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, building a foundation. I think we often forget of just building a foundation for someone rather than just feeding them to the wolves, you know? So, I don't
Or
know.
to the coyote.
There you go.
Well, Mike, and that's really interesting to me because we were chatting just before we hit record, and I said, how many years total? And you said, I got 8 years. And I said, that is a great conversation to have because a lot of times on this podcast, I have more senior guys on.
Yeah.
And somebody with 8 years on is like still in this awesome way. Like you are the next generation. You are the next group. You're bringing in the younger kids below you, and you can relate to them, but you also relate to the senior guys too. And I love that. And even in some places, 8 years, you're a senior guy, right? Like there's some departments that are that trending that young.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
But for you in that age range right now, like where do you feel you are in your journey in the fire service at 8 years?
I feel honestly, it's weird, but I feel like I'm just getting started.
Love
you
it.
know, that it's interesting. You know, like 2 years or 1 year, you think you know it all, right? And then you just have that humbling moment. It's like, oh, you know, and
I don't know anything. Yeah, right.
And then you go down your years, and then you start learning more from people. And you're like, oh no, this guy's the real deal, you know. And that's what I learned from like when affordable drill towers came and some of the OSCA PAGs. That's where I got to meet him. Like these are the real deal personnel, you know. And then I go to Joey D, and I'm like, wow, I am just getting started, you know.
Yeah.
Like this is it. Like this is where it starts. You know, this is where you really start driving into like what you want to nerd out on. That's what I say. What you want to nerd out, you know. And it's nice. It's cool. I'm loving it. I'm loving every bit of it. Of just getting started, I should say.
Well, and that's great. I mean, so you have a training company, if you will, and a page where you represent the very best of the fire service. And I was going through some of your content, and it's just stuff that's like right in your face. It's good stuff. And what I love is like it's coming from a place of humility. Like you're just telling me like I'm just getting started, but you can share that through your ability to teach and work with anyone that wants to work with you. Like you come from a place of like, hey guys, this is what I'm learning. This is what I'm seeing. This is how it's going.
Exactly.
And you're refining your own skill set, but you can pass that on so that the next guy understands that they don't have it all squared away at 8 years.
Exactly. And that's all my page or my company, you know, is about. You know, sometimes I hate saying, oh yeah, I have my own company, you know, because the profit aspect of things is not for me. You know, that's not why I'm doing it. It's passion and just, you know, passing forward the message. You know, Chief Aaron Heller, he said, keep spreading the good word. And that's what I'm going to do. You know, that's what I want to keep doing to personnel, motivate. You know, if there's people who feel like they're the only one in their firehouse, who are the only motivated ones, call me up. You know, let's go do some reps. Let's go do it. Let's gather some people like-minded, and let's get like a good recharge. That's why I do it. That's why I have my own company.
You know what it does for me? Holds me accountable.
Yeah.
Like there was a time where I was kind of just floating through it and just going through the paces and complacency and since starting National Fire Radio, I started to realize that, listen, like if I'm going to do this, there's like this, I got reinvigorated about, you know, the importance of bettering myself. And I've never been better than I am today when it comes to understanding my place and knowing, you know, that I'm still have so much to learn. And the people that I surround myself with pick me up every single day. Like I love being exposed to people that have this undoubted commitment to the fire service. It's just, it's exciting, but you get to share that too. And it holds us accountable, right? I mean, that's the best part about all of it, I think.
Yeah, it's great. You can't ask for anything more, honestly. Just being humbled.
How rewarding is it for you to be on the training ground? I watched you at Joey D, Texas. You were working on some ground ladder stuff with JJ and you know, and so on. I was watching you guys work, and it was cool because it was literally like training and drilling at the firehouse, like the way you guys were doing it and talking with the people that were there to learn, and so on. It was fun to watch. It really was.
Yeah, I love it. You know, working with Jeffrey and then my good friend Ben Jennings, you know, or a couple of truckies just getting together. You know, it's going to
Mm.
be a good time. You know, but like being on the other side and being able to teach and share the things that I've learned from others, um, it's it's a full circle again. You know, because I enjoyed going to Joey D. I loved it. I still love it, and to be able to help out in any way I can is a feeling that I can't explain.
Did you pursue the training aspect? Because, I mean, obviously it was important to you from early on. It's who you are. But,
Yeah,
like, did you feel that you were getting enough of it, or did you build Coyote Fire because you were looking for more?
I wanted more, and I wanted to
Mm.
make a bridge. I wanted to make a bridge for personnel who don't know about the training, who don't know about OSTA, who you know from in Joey D. I want to make that bridge for my area and other areas, you know, who may not know. You know, anytime I get to tell someone about Joey D, I tell them. You know, it's a training that you can't get anywhere else.
Well, why? Like, is it not prevalent in your area? Like, or are things like that not so much the norm?
No, you do. You have Houston. A lot of those Houston personnel. You know, um, I love talking to the Houston guys. You have some Austin guys as well, but like in our area, we're newer. It's a newer area. You know, it's sprinklered. Like I said, you know, so it's a newer area, and we don't have a lot of these firefighters who are doing it every day. So making that bridge is what I really wanted to do, and that's it. I just wanted to keep going. Like I told Pags, I said, you know, how do I get more involved with training? Because I want to get mental reps. And then, yeah, he told me he guided me the same way.
Well, I'm just making some notes. I love this making a bridge, and you're talking about newer areas, right? So, like, I know from my couple years now of traveling down to Texas a couple times a year, I've seen the explosive growth, and I've seen the ESDs grow, you know, station after station. And one of the things that stands out to me was we were doing an event down there years ago, and we had a young kid in the crowd raise his hand. We were doing like a round table, had some incredible guests with me, and we were doing a round table. And this young kid raises his hand in the audience, and he says, we were doing like questions, and he's like, I got a question. He's like, I'm in for like 5 years. I'm going to be promoted to lieutenant and open a brand new station because we're growing so fast that we don't even have people to fill these roles or fire stations, let alone we're opening fire stations, 1, 2, 3 fire stations like a year. Like it's like this revolving door. And he goes, I'm 5 years in. I'm going to be taking over the station as a lieutenant. He goes, I don't feel like I'm ready for that, but I don't know what to do. And Shannon Stone, Shannon Stone out of Florida was like, listen, man, he goes, those are the cards you dealt with. If not you, then who?
Yeah, perfect.
He goes, you're here learning on your own time. And that tells me that you're the type of guy that we need in those positions. So you might not feel that you're ready, but you don't have a choice, man. We need you to be in that seat. And so you got to do everything you can to feel like you belong there. And it's going to take a long time before you get at least comfortable enough to act in that way. But he said, if not you, then who?
Yeah.
And it's a great point, but it goes to what you're talking about with areas being new, right? I mean, this is a very fast-paced, fast area that's growing, and you need people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's common to hear that, like, oh, I'm 3 years in, I'm about to be lieutenant. It's like, oh,
Right.
wicked, right? Like,
And what are they building off of? Because if the department is growing that fast and it's that new, there's no culture.
Yeah.
There's no traditions.
Exactly.
Right? So the foundation is being built on the growth.
Yeah. That's
so
it.
what I find really interesting then is you don't have anything to lean on. But if you're like you, Donovan, and like that kid that raised his hand at the question and answer period, you guys get to build the foundation.
That's it.
That's freaking cool.
It's super neat. Yeah. That's cool. It's an awesome feeling to be able to do that.
So explain that a little bit to me then, because how does that, because for me, I come from an institution that's 100 years old.
Yeah.
And for me to make any institutional change or guide or make any type of impact, there's hoops and hurdles and, so many things, and it's probably already done and in place. So it's like we're not affecting a lot of culture and historical change. We're actually just maintaining it and making sure we promote it. You guys get to write the book.
It's cool. It
is cool.
It's super cool. My last department I worked with, I was promoted to lieutenant, and out the gate, I was like, all right, here we go, right? There's no book. They don't give you a book. They don't do any of that. They say congratulations, and they put you on the truck, right? Which is, sometimes it's kind of the norm. But
right.
Getting to figure that out on how the biggest battle that anyone deals with is personalities, right? Figuring out personalities along with balancing, making an environment that everybody wants to come to, right? So the firehouse that I was at, we went all out. Our theme was the Irish theme. So we did 3-leaf clovers. We did this big sign with the number 3. We did LED, like the LED lights behind it. Anytime there was a car accident, we would hang up the hood ornaments on that sign up there. We made the culture, and it was throughout each shift. I worked with a lot of great people from that station, just great people, and they were all on board. And I think having the mentality of we're all in, and we're all in together, and this is our firehouse is probably the coolest feeling to have. Ray McCormick actually at Gone to Texas, he said, develop that culture, and if you want to have that firehouse, then make it. If you want to have that company that everyone relies on, then make it. And that's dead on right there. That's it. Make it. If you don't have it, then make it. Research, go to trainings, ask people who are just like in your position, who have that tradition already. Ask around, reach out.
Yes.
It's the fire service. We don't work in corporate where we have to keep it hush hush. Our morale is a secret. Forget that. That's not morale. Anyone who has good morale will tell you on how to even start. The Dallas area, they said they're trying to get their tradition up and running. It's there. From what we see it, I'm like, it's here. It's awesome.
Right.
My current department, there's a firehouse that's Station 3. They have great morale. It's awesome. They do the 3-leaf clovers, and if someone who makes it onto their truck or they accept this person, they get a little 3-leaf clover on their helmet, and that's super neat. That's cool.
It's creating a great environment.
Yeah, it's awesome. And that's anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. It's a super cool feeling.
It makes for such a better time.
Mm-hmm.
You think about it, nobody wants to be where they're not appreciated. Nobody wants to be where they have struggles and it's just not an enjoyable place. Nobody wants to work in a place that sucks.
Yeah.
Nobody does. I don't care what job, whether you're a plumber, a banker, or a fireman. Nobody wants to work in a shitty place.
No.
So why not make it good?
Yeah. Anyone who's in a temporary assignment, you're at a slow station, right? For me, I'm at a hazmat station. And those who know me, hazmat's not my thing. But I'm making it fun, right? So I'm at, it's a hazmat station, but it's my house. If it's temporary or not, it's my house. And I'm going to do something with it, do projects. Wherever you may be, if it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, do projects. It's your house. If you have that mentality of this is not my fire station,
right.
Dude, go somewhere else.
and the buy-in that comes with it, all it takes is one guy.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
It takes one guy to light the fuse, and then everybody else will come. They will.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you create that culture and environment that promotes winners and it promotes work, and if you're going to be there and it takes work to be there, all the guys that don't want to work are going to find their way out of there.
Yeah, they don't want to deal with it.
That's the best part of it.
Yeah, they'll complain, and then they won't have any solution for it.
That's right.
All right. Word
well,
up,
and that's my favorite thing. It's we can, everybody loves to complain. We all complain. I mean, I complain. Everybody complains.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to do anything, or are you just going to sit and complain? And I think that, like, that is where you get a real good idea of the guys and girls that you ride with and that you work with. It's like, if somebody has an issue, present it and let's do something about it. If you don't want to do anything about it, then we're moving on. But shut up.
Exactly. Move
Yeah.
aside.
Move aside.
Move aside. I'm
Yeah,
gonna deal with it.
that's a great way to put it, man. Just don't get in our way.
No. Yeah.
You had another quote that I read, and it falls right in line with this: never hold yourself to the standards of those that want to see you fail.
Yeah. Right on.
If you're not on board, just get out of my way. I don't care. You want to suck? Suck.
Go
I
ahead.
don't care.
Exactly.
Just get out of my way.
Yep.
Don't hold me back.
Exactly.
And I think that really goes for people in authoritarian positions. Senior men, bosses, captains, lieutenants, chiefs. You want to suck? Suck. Just don't hold your people back.
Yeah. Let us do our thing. You know?
Let us do our thing.
Let us do
I
our
love
thing.
that, man. Speaking of doing your thing, gone to Texas this past week.
Yeah.
I know you were down at the that's the Dallas area. I was a part of that conference for a couple of years. How'd it go? How was it?
It was good. It was good. A lot of good lectures going on.
What's the takeaway from it?
It was.
What?
I was ready to go after the conference. Let's see. Ray McCormick again. He said a big one was the trust that the public gives you or gives us is solid gold. Don't mess that up. And he started out the gates with that, and I thought that was super neat. They talked about, we had Mike Torres with ladders. I got to sit down with his actual class in his the PowerPoint class, so that was super cool. I've taken his hands-on class. We did a lot of truck. I did a truck company class, inside outside truck. Doing load.
That seems to be your
sports.
thing.
Yeah, I love it. It's my favorite.
It's good.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a super neat to do that. JJ was there. He was teaching. It was cool. Like the conference and all was awesome. A lot of good lectures.
What do you find? I mean, other than the firematic part of it, talk to me a little bit about how important it is just to network, right? Like you and I've met, and we've met at different conferences and so on. And to me, I value those relationships as much as I do the training.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, networking. I look at it as more of just brotherhood and sisterhood for me. Getting to meet and getting to know others who are maybe at the training. For example, at the Gone to Texas, I got to meet this guy. We talked a little bit, and he said thanks for your hospitality later on, and we're going to stay connected. But I think that's all it comes down to is networking, and then you never know who you are going to use in the future, right? So anyone could be a reference for you, or a resource, I should say. That's what's helped me. That's what's helped me go my way of the fire service, is all the networking resources that I've done have helped me. You'll see in conferences, people all stay together in their cliques, and they'll stay with their department, or they won't talk to anyone. It's like, forget that. Let's network. Let's get to know each other. Let's make this training even more, fun, or something to take away from it. Just let's all come together with it, right? Networking doesn't have to necessarily be like, let's talk business. Networking is just getting to know someone right next to you and do good work together. Just do it. Let's bring back that tradition.
Yes. I mean, all of it is yes. I mean, that's what I do, right? The one thing I get to do that I love most is putting people together.
Yeah.
Awesome. I've gotten to meet so many people. I've gotten to know so many people, and I just love. I'm like, we're talking, and I'm like, whoa, Donovan, it would be great for you. Reach out, talk to this guy.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's great, and then and I love, making, like in your words, making a bridge, right? Like making a bridge between people. I think that's what makes our job better. Is like you have to get rid of, and I find that this happens everywhere, and it's done between training companies. It's done on local levels between firefighters and their own companies and other companies. Competition is good. Collaboration is better.
Yes, that's the best way. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I like that.
I just competition's really good. Like I think we need competition in life. I think when it comes to certain jobs and positions, you need to compete for that because we want the very best person for it. But if it's competition to the detriment of the mission, no good. And I think like the fire service is so big that we have the ability, instead of working against one another, we need to work together with one another.
Yeah.
Community is always better than individual. I'm a firm believer in that. But we do have a lot of people that just don't want to go that route. And I don't particularly understand why, because there's enough fruit for everyone. And if, frankly, everybody is protecting the integrity of the mission, then we're all doing the same job.
I think that's probably the biggest thing. And that's what Chief Heller has really taught me is respecting the fire service, and that's a big thing that group OSTA has really taught me, as far as respect the mission and respect the fire service, and don't piss off the good people, or just show their respect, and that's what I want to do with them. I respect that group, Yoed. I look up to a lot of those guys, and it's just showing respect, Well,
I agree with you 100%. I'm friends with probably, I would say probably 90% of their cadre are guys that are in my phone. Like I talk to them.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of that. And, for me, I agree with you 100%. And I agree what you're saying about what Chief Heller has shared with you. And that is a really important way to understand what this is truly all about is legacy matters. Your reputation matters. I mean, this is, as big as the fire service is, it's very small when it comes down to individuals and who they are, and reputation matters. And, it's important to maintain the integrity of, putting the job first. And I think when you do that and you make decisions based upon the bigger picture and not yourself, that is how we win.
Yeah, perfect, right there. Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to do this for for the followers and for yourself to make yourself look good, like that's not it. Or for profit, like if you're trying to make profit off of the fire service, nah, that's not it. That's a big.
I got a hard time with a lot of that. There's ways to do. There's ways to do it correctly. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of businesses. Training groups are businesses. National Fire Radio is a business. Like, there's ways to do it, but there's right ways to do it.
Yeah.
And you know what it takes, Donovan? And you recognize this. You haven't said it, but you have. There's no shortcuts here. Like, everything takes time and experience.
That's it. Yeah, and it's just being patient. You just have to be patient with a lot of this stuff. I know that
nobody's patient.
I know that sucks to hear from a firefighter to another firefighter, right? Being patient, but like you just have to kind of just remember and let life just cruise along with you, like just be patient. The times will come, and
understanding the importance of patience, right? I was just thinking, like, on the fire ground, I'm like, where do we require patience on the fire ground, and how does a young firefighter learn that? And I'm thinking, like, opening up, right? I'm thinking of a fire we had where I had a young kid with me, and he was we had fire coming out of, the outlet and in the wall, and he was ready to tear that wall open. And I'm like, whoa, take a breath. Let's get a line in here first before we start exposing this thing and opening this thing up. It's going to go to shit real quick.
Yeah.
That comes with experience. And what that does, right, is then requires the younger person to understand there's a time on the fire ground where we need to take a breath and take a pause. Right? And so I think that's really important. And that is you, like 8 years in, understanding that you're just getting started in your journey. I love that, man. Did you always feel that way, or have you learned over time, like as you matured with, year after year in the fire service? I would think that you're in a different place today than you were just a few years ago about your mentality of where you are.
Yeah, definitely. I've not been like that. My wife has helped me a lot, kind of reel me back. Cause she knows like I'm a go-getter. I want it done now. I'm trying.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
For it, so she's reeled me back. I've had a lot of solid mentors that I've named, kind of reeled me back a little bit. My good friend, Jennings, he's reeled me back. Like, hey, dude, you're still young. it's like, oh, dang, you know what? You're right.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
let's wind it, right? So, and then going into like to the fire service, going on calls, yeah, just having those mentors teach me how to be patient when it's time to go, when it's time to be a bull in a tire shop, and when it's time to just be zen, and that's helped me a lot with even med calls, just kind of like reeling stuff back. Let's look at the bigger picture. Let's take it one step at a time. And all of that translates to me just doing through life, right? Through the training page, like I want to go help teach this and that. Take it one step at a time. Let's be patient, just stuff like that. It's all been hand in hand, just back to back together. So
what is the fire service done for you personally? Like, I know for me, what it's done for me, it's a lifestyle for me. It's a way of living, the people I surround myself with, the people that my wife and children surround themselves with. It all comes back to the fire service, basically.
Mm-hmm.
What has it done for you? Looking back and over these short few years for you, like, what does that look like for you?
I would say that fire service has given me confidence. It's given me the courage. It's helped me be a better family man. It's taught me how to take care of your own. That's a big thing. Those are big things for me. Like everyone's like, oh, it's taught me how to run through burning buildings. That's like the bigger picture here. I would say a lot. It was like courage, being a family man, and just having that confidence. Just having confidence in myself, taking those steps.
Did you learn that through mentorship? You mentioned mentorship before, and I wanted to bring that was actually a bullet point I had on my pad here that I wanted to ask you about, because guys like you recognize the importance of mentorship in your own life.
Yeah, definitely. Right? Yeah, my father is a big mentor for me when it comes to my family, patience. I have a 3-year-old girl and I have a wife, so I'm outnumbered already. So he's taught me how to do patience, and I can't thank him enough for that, and just how to be the husband. But when it comes to fire service, a lot of these mentors I've named before, or just a few minutes ago, they've I would say being humble on really how to be humble, where to get started, and how to be respectful to the fire service. On how to just keep that tradition going. It's a different mentality when I'm around these guys. Like it's different. You expect them to be kind of like just shutting it down. You're like, we don't know this guy, right? That's not the case. They are super inviting. They will teach me whatever needs to be taught in the fire service. They have time to speak with me. It's been nice. So having that mentorship has showed me that's what I need to be doing for the younger generation. When I say younger generation, I mean just getting started.
Yeah.
When I teach at the fire academy at ACC, they're going to be timid. They're not going to know what's going on with the fire service. So you need to be able to show them, like, hey, this is what it's all about. The last class I just went through and they graduated, I said, welcome to the best damn job on earth. And I left my name and phone number on the board. I said, you let me know if anything. If anyone stands in your way, if you're woman, man, black, white, whatever race you are, you tell me what you guys need. No one's going to stand in your way of this job, because this is the best job and no one's going to take it away from you. They need to hear that. They need to hear that from someone who is in the fire service right now, not from someone who's burnt out. Oh, it's a fire. No, forget that. So that my mentors have taught me to bring that passion to someone else.
When I asked you earlier in this conversation about the creation of Coyote Fire Training, and you said that one of the core things for you was to provide a place where people that are seeking something more can find a mutual conversation, if you will.
Yeah.
Look me up, reach out to me. If you're struggling in your own department, you need more, I can help you, because I want more.
Yeah.
And so, like, that is super strong, and that comes with, understanding your own background and experience, and then transpose that and fast forward a little bit further, you are going to become a mentor for others. And the only people that mentors will go all in on are people that want and need more, and they're
Exactly.
seeking, and they're interested, and they're asking, and they're showing up, and they're keeping their mouth closed, they're opening their mouth. Like, just, it's those people that anyone will go all in on if they're all in themselves, and you certainly are that way. But in a real roundabout way of getting there, you're going to become a mentor for many as your career ticks on, and that's exciting because you come from great stock.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you.
But it takes what your humility. When you said humble before, like, that to me is one of those things that I struggled with for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
I was a big mouth. I was a know-it-all. I knew everything, and I couldn't be told differently. And only in the last, say, 10 years have I really understood the person I want to be. The person I am today is not who I was 10 years ago.
Yes.
I promise you that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm with you on that. That's right on with that.
And it's come through the process. Like, I wouldn't change any of it. The process is important, right? I mean, when you think about our own process, and everything affects who you are today, it molds and shapes you to who you are today. If I didn't go through that period where it was my way or the highway, where I would kick and stomp my feet, if I wasn't like that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have an appreciation today for what that did for me to where I am today.
That's
and
it.
that comes with mentorship. I don't have, like, I can't really name a lot of people that were mentors to me per se. My father certainly was. My father's my everything.
Yeah.
But I think the fire service was a mentor for me.
Yeah. Nice.
But the real fire service, the stuff that I'm doing today, the people I talk with today, understanding that there's so much more outside of your own zip code. Once I understood that and started seeking more, I realized that the fire service was mentoring me in a lot of ways, man.
Yeah, that's dead on right there. Seeking outside your zip code is awesome way to put it. You know, and the old heads, or, you know, the salty dogs, right? The seasoned guys, get the stories when you can. Get the stories when you can, because they're not always going to be here. You know, like, you have to get it in. To know what the fire service was, you have to venture out and ask them. You have to. You know, like, there's not a time where I go to these conferences and if I see a seasoned guy, I'm there. I'm gonna talk this dude's ear off, because I want to know. I want to know what's up. So, you know, you had Bart. You just had Bart recently.
Yeah.
Talking to him is awesome. That guy's a ruthless,
wealth of knowledge.
That guy's a ruthless dude. That guy's ruthless. It is super neat to see him on the burning ground. Just not a care in the world. I'm here to do it. Let's go. Just, he is always in there at all times, ready to go, and doesn't care what anyone has to say or anything. He's there. It is super cool. Super neat.
People make us better.
Yeah.
You know, and finding people that make us better is really what this is all about. And you know, I recognize that, and I'm grateful for my experiences and the people that I surround myself with. And getting to do this, you know, getting to know you and being able to talk with guys and you know, learn more about individuals, it just makes me better, man, for sure. The mentorship thing for me is important, and I can't stress that enough. And the younger guys, like, looking at you at 8 years in, you are a mentor to many these days, and you know, and you have a long career ahead of you. I would challenge young kids, if they're listening to this, find someone that motivates you. Find somebody that you want to emulate, or characteristics and individuals around you that you want to be like or you appreciate.
Yeah.
And I mentioned it to you before. I asked you about, like, what has the fire service done for you outside of the fire service, meaning, like, for your family and what it's done for you personally. I think that is a very big part of it that doesn't get talked about enough, is how influential we can be to the next generation by showing them what it means to be a good family man, by being a good provider, by getting your things together, by taking care of your children, by being a good spouse. Like, all those things translate to the firehouse. I think it's important, right?
Yeah. No, that's it. That is it. That's all. It all translates back to each other, and you're hitting it right on the head.
We need to do better at teaching that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we do a good enough job at it.
I don't think people do a good enough job of seeking it sometimes. You know, I think people need to seek it. You know, so it goes both ways.
Do you think that guys just turn it off? Like it's not important to them? They're too busy in their own shit. They don't pick their head up and look around. Like, what do you think it is?
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I think some are just they don't know what the fire service is or was. You know, and I think some are just
or can be.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, like so.
Yeah.
And that was me. That was me a couple of years. I had no idea what the true fire service was. You know, all I knew was I'm checking the truck and I'm taking a nap. That's it. That's all I knew. That was my first year into the fire service. You know, I wasn't taught that. And now look, I'm over here, you know, Bob Foss. Bob Foss took me under his wing a lot of the times, you know. Heller, all of them guys. I'm reaching out to these guys and seeing what the fire service is, and what it can be, and how I can bring that back and bridge the gap. You know, you got to venture out. You got to do it. If you're going to stay in your rut and eat 2-day-old chips at the dinner table and not do anything about it, you'll never seek what the fire service is. You'll never will.
I'm just doing a dramatic pause.
You're good.
That's fantastic. No, that's really, really good. Like, you got to seek it. And for you to share that about your first year in the fire service, if that's what you're shown, if that's all you learn because that's what was given to you, like you don't know what you don't know, right? So like you show up and this is what the job is, and the guys are like, yep, we take naps, we go for ice cream, we eat, we do this, and that's all we do. Then you don't know any different, right?
No, you don't know. Yeah, I mean, so anyone's gonna be like, you get paid to eat ice cream and sit on a recliner? Right. Heck yeah, you know, like
yeah,
you know, people just don't know.
I wonder how many great guys are led astray early in their careers because of a terrible upbringing in their first couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Quite a few. You know, just looking at the cadets in the new hire, or not the new hire academy, but the ACC Fire Academy. You know, just looking at them, and there's a lot of squared away people. You know, and then you kind of think in the back of your head, like, dang, I hope you get a squared away department.
Right.
You know, I hope you get a squared away crew, because if you have so much passion in you right now in the academy, it's like, damn, dude, I hope you go somewhere squared away. You know, so who knows?
You can certainly have your flame blown out very quickly if you arrive back somewhere and it sucks.
Yep.
And, you know, I was just thinking about this, like the academies have become, if you don't run or manage your own academy, meaning like larger cities and so on, they can control the flow, the tempo, the delivery, all of that, right? But if you're going to a county or a state system where it's just you're going for a checkbox academy, which so many academies have become, and then they go, well, don't worry, because when you get back to your fire department, they're going to show you how they do it.
Yeah.
They'll show you the real way.
Sorry.
Well, a lot of those kids come back from the fire academy, go to their firehouse, and they're not shown shit.
Nope.
Now what?
Now they're
what?
Rusty. Now they're rusty 3 years in. They still don't know.
Well, they don't know any better.
They don't know. Yeah.
Nobody has shown them anything else. So they're like, okay, I guess this is how we do it here.
Yeah.
And then you have another kid that sat next to that kid at the academy, and he went back to his department, and they throw him in, and let's go. This is how we do it here.
Yep.
It's really the luck of the draw in a way.
Yeah, it is.
I think the system has done a very good job at throwing people out into other people's responsibility and not staking a claim on the individuals as they come through the academy. Our academies need to do better at teaching and training and giving a strong foundation, and not throw it back on localized departments or companies to teach and train these kids when they're done checking all the boxes.
Yeah.
I think that is a complete fail of our system.
Yeah, and teach and train to, help this firefighter. Teach and train to help them. Don't teach and train them to like discipline or make it a punishment because they're a rookie or they're a probie. Like they're gonna get that through the firehouse life. If you're gonna teach them or train them, make sure it's efficient, and don't just be there as the instructor. You want the title. Don't do that. Right? We need to start teaching people what needs to be taught and what we're going to be using these things on the real life fire ground.
Yeah, I also think, too, departments don't – I can speak to the volunteer side of this for sure, that strong volunteer departments of years ago don't have the time or the personnel to invest into their new people like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
I can promise you that. And so the new people are coming back, and they're seeking knowledge. They're seeking more, and there's nobody there to give it to them anymore.
Yeah.
That is a real freaking problem across the fire service.
It is. It is. And I see it. I've been fortunate enough to teach volunteer departments around my area, or I went to San Antonio. You know, seek out for training, you know, like hopefully people are doing it for the right reasons and not going to charge you for an arm and a leg, but like, you know, it's a huge problem in the fire service. And I think departments should identify that, right? Going back to bringing it all together. If you have a neighboring department who is strictly volunteer, you know, and they're having the problems of training, get people from your department to go over there. You know, bridge the gap. You're probably going to be working with them. More than likely, if they're your mutual aid here, bridge the gap. Go talk to them. Hey, is there anything y'all want to go over? Is there stuff, you know, like have a conversation with them. Come over to our training ground if we have one, right? Or we'll go shoot some beers, table talk it, right?
Yeah.
Get together. You know, once you start getting together, they're going to be like, damn, we should train on forcible entry. That's actually something that's never come up, right? Bam. You know?
We have become, I know where I am, and I know it's prevalent all over the country, but we are becoming more and more of a regionalized fire department, right? The fire system where we are relying on one another more and more, where mutual aid did never exist at the level it does today, right? And it's, you know, we might have increased alarm assignments, multiple companies, better staffing, whatever it is, but we're relying on mutual aid in most of the country more and more than we ever have before. Why aren't we looking at that and saying, well, then if individual departments can't operate on the fire ground by themselves anymore, and we're doing multiple mutual aid runs with them, why aren't we starting to put together, you know, mutual aid training too, allowing for an environment where we can take those kids that came out of the checkbox culture and now introduce them into some type of mentorship program their first year in the firehouse.
Exactly.
And if your own firehouse can't do it, at least the system can. We need to look at things like that. We have to.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, bridge the gap. That's all. I know I keep saying it, but like it's all about. It's what it's all about. You know, like pretty soon I want to start doing lectures and having people come in, you know, at a brewery and they do a lecture and invite anyone who wants to come out. But you know, the surrounding departments together, you know, and then we actually start meeting people. We're like, oh, dude, I saw you the other day, right? You know, that's what I want to start doing. You know,
that's how things get better.
Exactly.
No doubt.
No
doubt. We're better as a community. We talked about that earlier. We're always better as a community than we are as competition or, you know, putting each other down. But hey, let's face it, firefighters hate other firefighters.
No, for sure.
And we gotta get around from. We gotta get away from that.
Yeah, we do.
You know, we really, really do. So let me ask you this: with time winding, I mean, these shows go really quick. What's next for you? What's next for Coyote? What are we up to?
Big thing right now, my big project is, like I was mentioning, I'm going to start having big names start coming and doing lectures, you know, at a brewery, and maybe like 2 or 3 hours, whatever we can get, and then get just firefighters together. That's a big thing for me. And, you know, see what the future holds. Don't force it. Just be patient, you know. That's really it. I have something coming up with the chief in Stafford, maybe doing a class, you know, by McAllen and stuff. So whoever reaches out, whoever needs my help, I'm more than happy to help, assist, whatever needs to be. That's it, man. Just starting it. What
about you in your next 20 years in the fire service?
I want to.
What do you hope for? What do you want? What do you aspire for? Seriously.
I want to take the famous picture next to my lecture at FDIC. That's what I want to do. I want to take the famous picture of like, hey, this is my course. That's a big one for me. And you know, a personal 20 years, I hope to be successful and have my family squared away. You know, that's what I really want to have, 20 years.
Well, I can tell you this. I think those goals are very attainable for you. And like you said before, if you truly believe that it's a process and that you're just getting started, it's awesome, bro. Because you got everything in front of you. You got the right attitude, the right mentality. I think it all is going to play right into what you hope and aspire to do and be. And it's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Really good.
It means a lot to hear. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining me, man. This is you and I were messing around trying to get this thing together for weeks now.
It was my bad.
So,
first time was my bad. That was my bad.
First time, yeah, maybe. But second, yeah, and then I had to push it out a little bit.
No,
but
it's all good.
I appreciate your patience. But this means the world, right? Because, you and I had met a few times, but it's always fun to kind of deep dive a little bit with people to really understand who they are and where they come from. And, I really enjoyed this conversation. I thought it was great. I think that we need more 8-year guys like you that are out there and willing to put themselves out there to help facilitate the conversation.
Definitely.
There's a lot of people out there that are starving for information, starving for, younger guys that are passionate about the job, that have a way to share it with others. Donovan, how old are you?
28.
Hell yeah, bro. You got everything in front of you, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm excited.
I love it. And yeah, well, congratulations on everything that you've been a part of, and keep doing the right thing, pal, because it's working for you.
Will do.
So
I appreciate that.
Cool. Donovan, where can people reach out if they want to find you? They want to reach out to you, social media, email, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram is probably more of the hard hitting where I post a lot. All my information's there. Reach out to my phone number, email, whatever you need to do. Hit me up on Facebook, my personal page,
which is Coyote Fire Training, correct?
Fire Training. Yep. Yeah, just hit me up if anybody needs anything. Anybody wants to get some reps, we'll try to figure something out. Let's just
or even just having a conversation.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Airing out your frustration of where you are today.
Yeah.
Because we all deal with it.
Definitely.
I love that, man. Donovan, thank you, brother, for joining me. Stay right here. I'm going to sign off the podcast. I'll come right back to you, okay?
Cool.
Hang on one second.
Thanks for having me.
Cool, man. Thank you. Yeah, of course. Guys, thanks for tuning in for another episode of the National Fire Radio Podcast. Like I say at the end of every single episode, take this conversation, take it back to the firehouse, and talk about it. Because when we're talking about the job, we're making the job better. We'll see you at the next one. Jeremy, National Fire Radio.
National Fire Radio.